Welcome to this video how to create an RPA bot inside Flowable. I'm Valentin Zickner and I'm going to walk you through how you can execute an existing RPA Framework robot file. Then we are going to integrate that in Flowable, and last we are going to build a small simple process which is executing that robot for us, and we are going to start our external worker that the robot file is at the end executed. Now, to get started, I have actually here a simple robot file. We see here at the top some settings that we're importing existing libraries to read information from the desktop. We have a few variables in here which are predefined in this case now. And then we have one task called discounted cash flow that is going ahead and opening an application. That is Microsoft Excel in here. It is doing 2 clicks, or actually 1 click here based on an image. That image I already created. We have then a few key types which we are going to do. Those are actually entering the values which we have here at the top into our Excel sheet. And then we search an element on the screen. And by this element, we just move to a different position. So move region is doing that for us. And then we read text. We do that again. And at the end, we are going to take another screenshot. Now, let's go ahead and execute that file. I already prepared a terminal in here with the command. And I also installed the RPA framework with all required dependencies to execute that file. Now, once I press return, it is actually going ahead and opening Excel for us. It's filling in the information, then it is reading the information from the screen. And at the end, basically, we have all that information entered. We see that this one thing passed. We also see that we have here a test run. And when we look at our log HTML file, we can actually open that in a browser. We see that everything was successful. We opened the application. We clicked a few times. We entered elements. We read the text. There we see actually the value, which was the result. So here we have the 3 million actually. And here we have just that number over here with a few additional characters. And at the end, we also have a screenshot of what we just have seen with all the different content. With that, the execution was successful, and we can go ahead and integrate it with Flowable. First, to do that, we need to install the Flowable RPA Framework client, and you can simply do that with the package manager. So we go ahead and use that. So I am going back to the IDE, and then I just execute that pip inside my virtual environment, and it is installing for me the Flowable module that we can go ahead and use that. Now next, I'm going to change a little bit on the robot file, which makes it for us possible to integrate. So first of all, and you will find that in the documentation as well, we need to import our RPA Framework client API, which is there to read variables. So we do no longer need basically those variables over here. We are going to, as part of our task, just read those variables from the user. So instead of having it like this, we go ahead and say we are defining them based on what is coming from Flowable. And then we no longer need basically those here that we can do with FLW input. And then we provide the name of the variable, how we provide it from Flowable. We are going to do that in a few minutes. And here we are going to provide which variable we would like to write. And at the end, we can do the same for the other direction, basically. So we can say here FLW output, and then we can say we would like to have a company value. That is what we are writing. And we would like to have the variable company value. That's actually the one we have over here. So I should also write that in the same way. And the same we can do with the terminal value, actually, that we add that over here. The terminal value we would like to have here as well. And with that, we have now a task which we can execute with Flowable at the end. Now, to do that, we can either use a local Flowable installation or we can connect to the Flowable cloud. I am going to use the Flowable cloud here. So I go to my Flowable design and say I create a new RPA demo app. And in this app, I am going to create a new process that is my company evaluation process, which is doing our company evaluation. Now, in here, I have a start form, company evaluation start form, where I go ahead and read the information, which I basically have then later on as part of my process. So here I need to read those different numbers for the fiscal year 1, 2, 3, and the WACC then at the end. So therefore, I'm going to add a few numbers field, FC1, and I need to ensure basically that the variable is named as I would like to have it, FC2, and again the same here with this variable, and then the last one, FC3, same thing over here, and the last number is the WACC, and here we are going to change the naming of the variable as well. We could actually make all of them required since we need them for our RPA bot. So let's make them all required over here. And with that, we basically make them force the user to enter those. And we have some information collected here. Now, the next thing what we can do is we can go ahead and call actually our RPA bot. And that we can do actually over here. Let me switch here to the full palette, and I don't need to search it in there. So here we have the RPA framework task, and that we can connect. And here we need to provide two information which are mandatory. The first one is the job topic. That is just the topic which we are defining and then using on the other side as well to map which of our RPA executors or external worker executors are going to execute it. And the second one is then the RPA framework task name. That needs to be exactly the same name which we have provided here. So let me go ahead and copy that one. And then we just say here, company evaluation. I will copy that since that one I later on need when I execute our bot. Then we have input parameters. There we need to add those few fields which we have before. So the physical years and the WHCC. And we just map them from the same name to the same name. Here the source variable is actually the variable which we defined in our input form, while the target variable name is nothing related to the process. That is actually then what we use here as FLW input. So those two, they basically map together. Okay, with that we are done with the input, and then we can do the output next. Here it's basically the same game. So we are mapping the company value and the terminal value from over here to then a value which we have on our process. So we have company value over here, company value over here, and then we have the terminal value and the terminal value. Okay, and now we are getting back a few strings. So there is a small thing which we still need to do. We can actually use an init variable task to do that. So we can say this one here is company evaluation, and then convert data to actually it's string already, but we would like to have integers. I now just do that for the company value, and then we create a new variable company value int, and that is an expression. That expression actually is a little bit complex. So we first would like to go ahead and remove all characters which we don't know, basically, from the company value, just that they are not present. Therefore, we use a regular expression. That regular expression tells us basically everything but 0 to 9 we are going to remove in here. And then when we have all of that, then we can go ahead and say flow math.parseInt, which is parsing actually the number to an integer. And then we have the result value for our company value. So we can do the same thing also with the terminal value. And that is then going to be our terminal value int. With that, we have two new variables, company value int and terminal value int, and we can now continue with our process. For example, I'm going ahead and saying here, company value over 1 million. And in case this is the case, then we are taking the top part. So here we say company value int, and we say this is greater than or equal. And then we have a number value. That's 1 million. Now I need to be correct with the zeros. But anyway, we just have some random number in there. We just say this one here is yes. And then we have another path, which is going to be no. And there we just say then an end event afterwards. So that is no. And to be lazy, I'm just making that here the default flow. And we just merge that and say here, company evaluation is over 1 million. And just to have some nice data in here, I say that's my company evaluation result form. We create here a form, and then we add number fields, for example. So that's my company value, and the number is not stored inside company value. That's a company value int. We can add a prefix, which is, for example, then the dollar symbol, and then we add a second one for the terminal value. That is going to be also stored in terminal value int. And we say as well that we have in here a prefix, and that prefix is going to be the dollar. And we actually could say that is also disabled, so that nobody is able to change it. Now the interesting point starts, since now we can go ahead and save that. We can publish that, but we can't execute it next, since our bot locally is not running at this point. That we can change when we go to Flowable Work. When I'm here in my trial account, you can click on your username, and then you go to settings, and here you can generate an access token. So currently I do not have any access tokens, and I can create a new token. That's my RPA bot. I make it valid for 1 day, since I'm just playing around. Obviously, in production, you would like to pick something longer, and then we can submit that. Now, with that, I have a token over here. I can copy that token, but I also need to know how to start it. That you can find actually here inside the documentation. So there's in Python -m RPA Framework client Flowable token, then here the topic name and the robot. So let me copy here first the beginning, and then we go back here to our terminal and we say we paste that. Next, we need our token. So let's go back and copy the token over here. Then we can actually also close that, and we can insert our token in here. And then we have as a next thing the name of our topic. I already forgot what I entered there. So that's company evaluation. We find our topic name in here. So let's go back and enter that. And the last thing what we need is our name from the file. That's the company value robot. So I'm going to start that now. And it's saying here, start consuming for topic. And with that, we actually can go back and say here now in Flowable that we would like to start a new work item. Here we have our company evaluation process, and I will enter some numbers. I should have actually added here number formatting that we see nicely how many digits they have. But yeah, not for now. You can do that for your process. And now when I submit that and we go here, we see basically now in a few seconds how it is going to start consuming from our topic when we configured everything correctly. We already see actually that the permissions were right in place. Otherwise, it would show an error message over here. It's now polling Flowable, and it now found that we have a job, and that job actually failed. And that obviously can happen. And in case it is failing, it is actually giving us here in the output directory the result of why it was failing. So what we can do actually, once that here refreshed, perfect, there we go. We can look at that log HTML, and here we then see basically what it is complaining about. So no keyword found with FLW input FC1, and probably most likely that is because inside the bot file, I didn't add enough spaces in here. So spaces are separated between the keywords. When you just add one space, then it is considering that it is one keyword. That's why I added here multiple, but I forgot it here at the top. So let's just in case restart that. Our consumption from the previous process is now gone. That is actually, let me close that, why we are now going to start a new one. So we have a new work. Then we have the company evaluation process. I pick the same number for the first one, but then different numbers in here. And then we are going to submit that. We are going again back over here to see basically the result of what we have. It executes now the job. And with that, it is going to our Excel. It's filling in the numbers. And by now, probably the job execution is done. So let's go back here. And we see job execution done for job. We still have the output saved now for this specific job. But I'm not going to look at this report now. And when we now go back and forth over here, we see that the company evaluation is over 1 million. We see our nice numbers actually, and we can check if they match with the numbers which we have inside the Excel sheet. So 25 million. Yeah, that looks about right. And with that, we can actually now add some nice number formatting, and we integrated the RPA bot successfully inside our process. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.